Neutral. All right, so Tifa, I actually already know what hers does because they posted it on Twitter. Yuffie's looks like Earth and Sephiroth's looks like Ice, which makes sense. Makes sense. And obviously they mentioned in the last banner update that the Heaven's Cloud is going to be the featured ultimate weapon for this one, which makes sense to me. This is probably a step up draw. Sick. Alrighty, so before we get into all the wish lists and everything, we're going to go over each of the 3 individual characters. First off, we're going to look at Tifa. I like this outfit a lot for Tifa in the Advent Children outfit. It's simple, but most of Tifa's outfits are simple. So it looks great in game. Choosy cute. It's a good outfit. Looks good. Looks solid. All right, let's check out the leather combat glove. So this is the only one that I'm aware of what it does because they posted it on Twitter. This has got a new effect, which we're going to talk about immediately. I just want to see what this does here. So at OB0, this has a 600% AoE magic non-elemental attack. When your HP is 50% or higher, it gives enfeeble to all enemies. And then applied stats buff tier is increased low to high. Now, the max tier says high. Okay, so you do have to get to OB6. That's kind of what I thought, but I wanted to make sure. So the benefit of this weapon is when you get this up to OB6, this now takes all of your 3-tier buffs. So like say you get +3 physical attack, +3 magic attack, +3 fire potency, +3 magic defense. Using this weapon then increases that 3-tier buff to a 4-tier buff, which is a massive difference. Like a massive difference. So this is a huge deal. The only, and I'm saying issue in the tightest of air quotes I can possibly put this statement into, the only issue is that Tifa typically wants her exploit weakness weapon in her offhand. Now, we do have 2 weapons in the game, one featured, one limited, that give the entire team exploit weakness, and there are ultimate weapons that give your entire team exploit weakness. So there are ways to fit this into Tifa's builds that make sense. And this enfeeble effect and this extra damage, essentially this is going to translate into extra damage, right? These 2 things combined may just make up for the fact that she's not wielding her exploit weakness weapon. So yeah, so the power in this weapon is definitely when it gets to OB6. It's not a bad weapon at the lower overboost levels, because obviously having an AoE enfeeble is still very powerful on the stages where it's necessary. And the R abilities at OB10 are fine, right? They're good mixed R abilities for Tifa. Tifa does physical and magic attack. The stats are actually really close, which I appreciate, because this will be used on both physical and magic based teams. So it's nice that they gave her the option to, have this and not be a detriment to one or the other. The 2 mixed sigil abilities for the materia slots or whatever, X sigil boost is great. It's solid. It's solid. The biggest issue with this weapon, and this is where it's going to come down to, is twofold, right? Number 1, the enfeeble at OB6 is at 35 seconds, and you do not get this extra tier, which is really the only benefit of these gloves, until you get this up to OB6. Now, this is a huge increase in damage for not only Tifa, but your entire team. And having the ability to do AoE enfeeble is insanely strong. The problem that I have is that this goes from 35 seconds to 60 at OB10, which is crazy, considering it does 1340% magic non-elemental damage in an area of effect, which is massive magic damage for non-elemental, especially for an area of effect. So the enfeeble having a 25-second duration increase from OB6 to OB10 on a limited banner feels a little bad, to be honest, because that means you would have to invest pretty heavily into this banner to really have a chance to get this to a decent overboost level to make it really useful. And then on top of that, Tifa has one of the 2 most limited banners in the entire game, meaning that her weapon parts are going to be competing for this one, her exploit weakness weapon, her, anniversary 1 weapon, her, the list goes on. She's got a Final Fantasy 13 limited crossover banner coming up in 2 months. That's going to be competing with her parts as well. So it's definitely a bit weird. It's a bit tough for me to recommend this one. It's a good weapon. It's really, really good. And it's solid. It has an AoE enfeeble. This increase to your entire team's offensive stats and defensive stats is a huge deal, especially for tougher content. And I do think that this will help be a cheat code for that. And I think you can probably dismiss the 25-second enfeeble duration because she can just recast it at the end of the day. Like, who cares at that point, right? So it's not that big of a deal. It just means that she's not going to be using her main DPS option. And Tifa is one of the better DPSs in the game. So having her not deal her DPS in a fight and having to recast this to increase your team's damage is going to draw back your total score and your total damage. But it does have 1,000 damage, so it's not like you're doing 0, which is nice. It's weird. This one's a weird one for me. I'm not a huge fan of this overall. I don't think it's a bad weapon by any stretch. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but I just don't like that this takes so much of an investment for a support weapon, right? Like, this is essentially going to be a support weapon for Tifa. She's never going to be using this as a main hand magic damage dealing weapon, right? That's never going to be the goal with this weapon. So it feels a little weird, which is a bummer because obviously I've mentioned before that I like this outfit a lot, and I really wish that this was a bit better. I hesitate to say better. It is good, right? But like, there's something about this one that just doesn't rub me the right way. Like, you'd have to invest a lot of crystals in this banner to justify getting this to OB6 or get really lucky, right? Like, that's always a possibility too. Like, if you pull on the first stamp card for one outfit and you get 3 of these, that changes the conversation entirely, right? Because the stamp card's probably going to be pretty friendly, not totally friendly, but pretty friendly when it comes to like guaranteed 5-star slots, since there's 3 outfits. So there's a chance that you can get this up to OB6 and OB10 pretty easily. Check out the stamp card afterwards to see how it looks. But yeah, so right now, like I said, very, very good weapon. At OB0, it's still pretty good. Obviously, the secondary effect, which is the cool part of this weapon, is not super useful at OB0. It kind of requires the OB6 to really get to that spot. But having AoE enfeeble is still really good. So this is a weird one. This is a weird one for me. It's definitely good. AoE enfeeble is good. I think it requires a little bit too much investment for me, especially considering I'm assuming that Yuffie and Sephiroth's weapons are damage, and the damage weapons definitely need like an investment, right? And so this is a difficult one for me to recommend like offhand because it's an offhand weapon. But yeah, it's definitely a great weapon. Don't hear what I'm not saying. This is a great weapon. It is great, but it does require a lot of investment for a support weapon, right? For a weapon that Tifa's going to be using to support her team's damage. It's a lot of investment. All right, let's check out the AC style. We got boost to tackle allies 15. We talked about this before, right? Like, this is good just because she's going to have an attack all allies weapon, so she'll be able to utilize this a bit better. And she should be able to get up to that level 5 break at OB10, right? Which is nice. You do have to get to OB10 to really get that, unless you're main handing the attack all allies weapon, which is not usually recommended. But getting an extra 4% damage is pretty good. Protective Fist it's an Omni Arcanum. That's, man. So let me phrase this in a way that's good for both players here. So if you're a new player and you don't have Tifa's Omni Arcanum from January, because she did get one just 9 months ago. If you don't have her Omni Arcanum, this is a great outfit, just like the Sephiroth outfit and the Cloud outfits are both great outfits. It's nice that she's getting the ability to have that 30% extra damage to all of the elements. 15% HP is very, very good, especially now with Memoria giving us an extra 3,000 base HP when we have a Memoria equipped. That 15% HP matters a lot. It gives us a lot more now that base HP is so much higher. And then obviously boost attack all allies 15 is still pretty good, and it's more offensively focused, which is nice. If you do have the Tifa festive outfit, it's really hard for me to recommend this. I'm talking to returning players and veteran players at this point. For a new player, this is as good as Cloud's. The only downside is that her weapon does not do as much like supportive effects to increase her total DPS as Cloud's does for him, right? The Omni Arcanum is still really good. Tifa does have access to all of that elemental damage. The issue that she has is that 2 of those elemental damages, meaning lightning and earth, were both limited weapons, making it very difficult to like utilize those in an offensive capacity without having that Monster Hunter banner rerun or having a limited weapon that you can get from the limit break draw. or the limit break vouchers and get that to a decent overboost level. So lightning and earth are kind of out. And the wind weapon that she has in the featured pool is fine. It's at like, I think 790% wind damage. And this is nice to have, but it's okay, right? There are better physical wind options in the game. And we actually got one for free for Yuffie just for logging in. And that weapon has, I think, another 60% on top of it. And Yuffie has better wind supporting weapons in her kit to be able to utilize wind DPS better than Tifa does, unless you have, again, another limited weapon that Tifa has available. Water, fire, and ice are alternatively, those three are all actually pretty good. Her ice damage is a little bit low, but it's not low enough to justify saying that it's not good enough, right? And her fire and water DPS are actually two of the best DPSs in the game. So, and I'm talking about specifically Shell Knuckles and Shining Gloves specifically. Bunny Gloves is also okay. It's in the same damage range as the ice gloves for Tifa. So she can definitely utilize this pretty well. If you don't have an Omni Arcanum for Tifa already, this is a decent one. It's more offensively focused, and it's definitely pretty good. Overall, if you asked me today if you wanted to pull for this, I would say that this is probably too much of an investment for free-to-play players or new players to really justify going for the weapon. The outfit itself is a different conversation because Tifa gets a lot of support from limited and crossover banners, just because she's a fan favorite, right? She gets a lot of banners, she gets a lot of outfits, she gets a lot of support. And if you are looking to try to like dial into an outfit that is a generic outfit that is just for Tifa and will cover your on every single bit of content in this game, this is a great one to choose, right? Then you don't have to worry about getting the lightning outfit for Tifa in Final Fantasy XIII's crossover in November. You don't have to worry about if she gets a, you know, near crossover banner in December, and like you don't have to worry about getting her banner outfit for that one either. You can just focus on the weapons themselves and trying to increase her power through those weapons using this as the all-around outfit. For folks that already have the January festive blue daffodil outfit, this is a pretty easy skip, which is kind of unfortunate. But like if you already have an Omni Arcanum, I don't think the 15% HP that you get from Protective Fist really makes that big of a difference at the end of the day. And the attack all allies is good, not great, right? It's good, not great. It's extra at damage, which is always great. Extra damage is good, but it's just okay. I am also a big fan of this outfit, and it bums me out that they just basically gave her something that she already had. Like, I understand that this is more like in mind with the newer players that are joining the game, and this is meant to be a generic outfit that people can just use. But for the folks that pulled on that outfit 9 months ago, I mean, that festive blue daffodil outfit is better than this outfit in general. Like, Reprieve is a more useful effect than 15% HP, right? So like that outfit is a more useful outfit. Now, for damage challenges like the high score, the battle ranking challenge that we're doing tonight, the guild battles and stuff like that, all of that, you want more damage, right? So the attack all allies is better, and you're still getting some defensive stats with the 15% HP. But like, man, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. It's a tough pull, because I'm assuming that these two are going to be in the 13-40% damage range as well, and they're probably getting Arcanums to match with their damage weapons, right? So it's going to be tough to justify pulling for this outfit that we already have access to versus the two outfits that will likely have like huge damage boosting effects for likely very strong weapons. But no point in speculating. Let's go into Yuffie next. I do like Yuffie's fit from Advent Children as well. I don't want to say it's one of my least favorite fits, but I don't think that it's so much different than her base outfit that it was like something that stuck out to me when I was watching the movie for the first time. It is cute. Like, it's a cute outfit. It's solid. I have no complaints. When I say that I didn't like it compared to the other outfits, it's more of a like, it didn't stand out to me because the other outfits were cool, right? This one is fine. It's good. It's a good look for Yuffie, but like the other ones just stuck out to me a bit more. But yeah, it looks good. It looks good. For her, Shuriken basically looks like the 4-point Shuriken that she already has access to, so the actual effect of this is not going to change that much. I imagine this band around it is probably meant to like showcase the actual elemental damage that it's doing. I assume this is going to be a magic earth weapon, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, solid. Love the boots though. I can give her that. Love the boots. Boots are dope. Look at all those laces. That's gonna take forever. All right, let's start with the Uber 4-point Shuriken. It is Magic Earth. Oh, and it's the Earth damage bonus. Interesting. So this is just like the Sephiroth ability, where it adds an extra percentage damage to that that elemental type for your entire team. This is really good. And this is gonna go up to 1340%. It does go up to 30%. I'm assuming that's at OB10. Yep. So 25% at OB6, 30% at OB10. It is all allies, just like Sephiroth's is. 691 magic attack is pretty good. 1340% magic earth damage is very strong. Magic attack, all allies, earth potency, sigil boost. Yep. This is really good. This is really good. Right now, the only weapon that even comes close to this is Vincent's White Dog or Stray Dog. I don't remember which one's which. One's the outfit, one's the damage weapon. I think I think White Dog is the gun. But yeah, this makes her immediately the best magic earth damage dealer. On top of the fact that she also increases the rest of your team's magic earth damage. Well, your team's earth damage in general by quite a bit, right? Even at OB6, 25% is quite a bit. For this one in particular, you're definitely going to need OB6 for it to actually see some use, because at OB1, the extra 20% ability, this is going to be the same thing I said about Sephiroth's banner last week, right? Like, just having one of these is probably going to make a huge difference. And unlike Sephiroth original, Yuffie actually has support in her kit for magic earth damage, because the Razor Ring in her kit has magic attack and boost 52 earth potency, which is something that she can put in her offhand super easily, and also have an AoE earth damage effect on top of it. It's not very strong, obviously, because those weapons aren't, but she has the ability to maximize her DPS output while also increasing her entire team's earth damage, which is very, very strong. It's going to be tough to fit that into your build when typically Yuffie's going to be coming in to give your entire team exploit weakness. And the strength of this weapon in particular with the Rocker's Guitar, which is a featured weapon for Yuffie that gives your entire team exploit weakness, is a massive damage increase. It's going to be very difficult to justify giving her anything else in her offhand. However, still a great sub weapon. We'll talk about that when we get into the actual what's it called, wish list. But yeah, solid weapon. Not much to say here. It's very, very good. Just like Sephiroth's fire weapon was very, very good. Hopefully I don't strike out on this one like I did on the last one, but it's very good. It's very good. I think if you have White Dog at OB6, you can probably avoid getting this to a super high overboost level, and because this is still a very solid supporting earth weapon. And if you're looking for a supportive magic earth damage dealer that increases your team's DPS while also giving your entire team exploit weakness, it's not so far-fetched to think that could be a reality with Yuffie here. The only real downside to that is there's not a lot of support for earth resist down for specifically magic damage outside of you just using Sephiroth, which is an option. But if you're using Sephiroth, Yuffie, and Vincent for earth damage and earth resist down, you're gonna lose out on a heal at that point, right? So that would only be for things like max damage challenges, probably maybe even for this battle ranking event tonight. That might be something that's used, right? That team specifically. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. This is definitely really, really strong. I don't want to sugarcoat it and say that it's something that's bad. It's very, very good. It's just it's another weapon that requires an OB6 to really get to the damage level that you're looking for. However, having one copy of this and giving your entire team 20% extra earth damage is still pretty good, right? And if you have this at OB0, it's a lot easier then to fit this into, say, a physical earth team as well, because Yuffie also has a very good physical earth weapon. And this earth damage bonus still applies to the physical earth stuff as well. So yeah, solid weapon here. AC outfit's going to be earth potency all allies. So this is the second time we've seen an effect like this. We saw this with Aerith's mermaid outfit during the summer event. Like I said then, this is not a bad effect. Obviously adding an extra 15% extra damage on top of the fact that Yuffie's weapon does an additional damage bonus, right? Which is also very good. Means that your earth magic damage is going to go up quite a bit. Again, this is a neutral kind of style of damage effect or damage potency buff. So you can use this with her physical build as well and use it with her physical earth weapon, which is excellent. And then Shinobi Starflower is a full-on Arcanum, just like we thought. Okay, yep, so 30% extra ability damage, magic ability damage, because it's obviously this weapon is magic attack, and then 15% HP. This outfit's great. This outfit's great. It's very, very strong. Unlike the Aerith outfit where the secondary ability wasn't very good, the secondary ability for this Yuffie outfit is insanely strong. So it's difficult for me to not say that this isn't really strong. The only thing that I have for y'all is that the Earth content in this game has not been super prevalent. We don't use Earth damage weapons very often. That's, I assume, going to change now that they've released a featured or a limited weapon that actually does this kind of damage. But I thought the same thing with Tifa when they released that, and she was really only used for Odin over the last, 6 months since Half Anniversary came out. So food for thought. It's definitely really good. It's definitely really strong. Don't have any problems with this at all. And it's really good. If you wanted to invest into Yuffie, this is an easy one to invest in. This would make her the premier Earth damage dealer on your team, potentially for both physical and magic. Just in general, because her featured pool kit is really good. Last but not least, we've got Sephiroth. I love this outfit, low-key. I think this outfit looks great. I love the all leather. I think it looks awesome. I think the sword looks great. I was really worried that they were gonna mess around with the sword and make it more Sephiroth-like instead of making it like the character that he's actually portraying. But I think the sword looks great. I think the outfit looks great. I think that he definitely pulls it off pretty well. The little glare. Yeah, it's solid, man. It's solid. Looks great. All right, let's jump into it. The Soba. 600% physical ice damage. Applies ice weapon boosts. Oh, I see. Interesting. So this is like the cloud effect, where it increases the damage of your actual C abilities. Instead of actually doing the bonus damage like the other one does, this one gives your C abilities more damage, but it does for all allies. And unlike Cloud's, which is only for a specifically himself and all of his weapons, this gives your entire team a boost to ice damage in general, which is great. Let's see what happens when we get to OB6. Goes to 30%, I assume. Only 35. Okay, that's not bad. In terms of being as friendly to the player as possible, this is the easiest one to recommend. The OB10 35 or plus 5% is not the end of the world. Getting the 10% boost from 20% to 30% at OB6 is great. That extra 5% is probably not going to make or break most of your attempts with a weapon like this on your team. Not to mention the fact that this also increases his damage by 30%, which, for the record, this weapon is significantly stronger than any other physical ice damage weapon we have in the game right now. And it's not even really close. I think it's a 400% difference between the current best physical ice weapon and this one. Oh, no, wait. I forgot about Vincent's gun. Vincent's gun does about 1120. So it's about 200% more than that, but it is definitely much stronger than any of the featured weapon pools, for sure. Adding an extra 30% damage to your entire team at OB6 is really good. And obviously, I don't have to say this to most folks, but there is a physical ice guild battle next week. I want to mention this right now, first and foremost. Do not pull on a banner specifically for the guild battle. That's the main takeaway here. Unless you are trying to go for top 10 or top 100 in your guild, you do not need to throw all your crystals away to make sure that you're doing the best in every single guild battle every single month. There's going to be a new guild battle every single month. If physical ice isn't your cup of tea for this fight, you're going to have your moment where you have a build that works better than everybody else's. As long as you continue working on your account, you will have your time to shine. So do not feel like you need to pull on this simply to do better in the guild battle. That is not what this is here for. You're using this to increase the power of your account in places that you are weak, right? For new players, of the 3 weapons, this is going to be the easiest one to recommend just because of how gem friendly it's going to be. You only have to get this one to OB6, and I don't think OB10 is very necessary outside of getting extra damage and some extra, like 5% extra damage for your entire team, which is not that much at the end of the day, right? 710 physical attack at 130 at OB10 is very good and what we expect from a damage weapon. This is really good. This is really good. This is really good. Our abilities are good. Materia slots are good. This is a great weapon. Great weapon. And Sephiroth is a great user of this as well because he's got a lot of supportive effects in his kit. Although, admittedly, ice is actually one of the few that he doesn't have supportive effects in. Both of his ice weapons are pure damage, which is interesting. But I digress. This is a great weapon. This is a great weapon. Of the 3, this is probably, again, for free-to-play or small spenders, this is probably the easiest one to recommend. But just because, again, I think that this has the biggest bang for your buck at OB6. Whereas the other two weapons, they do great things at OB6, but both of them kind of require OB6. This one's pretty good without it, right? It's pretty good without it. 20% to your entire team is also very good, just like the Yuffie thing is also very good. But like this being able to get up to 30% at that OB6 mark. And what did Yuffie's get up to? It was 25%, right? Yeah. Yeah. So getting an extra 10% boost at OB6 is a huge benefit. And it's just good, man. It's solid. This is a really good physical ice weapon. Again, physical ice weapons are very few and far between. If you watched my guild battle video that I posted onto YouTube this afternoon, I mentioned that there are only like 4 right now. One of them is for Glenn, who's not a damage dealer. One of them is for Zach, who is probably in the worst spot right now in terms of just his overall usefulness in the game. And the weapon doesn't do that much damage. And then the other 2 weapons that are available are for Yuffie and for Tifa, both of which can utilize it pretty well. But this weapon, if all weapons are OB10, this weapon does 500% more than Tifa or Yuffie's weapons. The other 2 physical ice weapons were both limited. One was Clouds from the original half anniversary, does 900% at OB10. It's solid, especially with his fusion sword. It's very good. And then the Gun of the Worthy is more of it inflicts weakness to ice. And since this next guild battle is going to be weak to ice, it doesn't really have that impact. So it just does a little bit less damage than another ice weapon might. However, it's still very, very good, very, very solid. And if you have any of those weapons, this is, again, not necessary for your account if you've got those weapons at a higher overboost. However, this does let you hit new damage ceilings because of this ice weapon boost. So really, really good weapon. All 3 of these weapons are really, really strong. I will tell you, this I'm assuming is just going to be the same as Yuffie's. Yeah, Ice Potency, All Allied, Rule as well is just going to be the Arcanum. Yeah, okay, yeah. Again, just like Yuffie's, this is really, really good, right? Really, 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 really good. And the fact that this weapon is also like very crystal friendly makes it a lot easier for me to recommend, right? Of the 3. Of all of these 3 outfits and weapons, though, they're all very, very good. The problem with this is going to end up being that you likely won't have enough resources to pull for more than one of the weapons on purpose, which we will jump into the stamp card right now just to double check and see. But if they didn't give us a, yeah, this is not it, right? It's going to get 3 here, then 3 here. Yeah. Which like is fine, right? Because what that means is that if you end up getting all 3 outfits, which like, good luck, honestly, if you do end up getting all 3, but you do get 1, 2, and then 3, and then another 3. So that's what? That's 8 total copies that you can get guaranteed, right? Yeah, 3 pages is a lot. It's a lot to ask for any player, especially people who pay money in this game. Like 3 pages is a lot. You could get 8 guaranteed copies from this, right? Because 3, 6, 8. That gets you up to OB7 automatically, and that's assuming that you pull 0 of those copies outside of that, right? So it's definitely you have to make a judgment call. You have to make the decision whether or not you want to pull for a specific item or a specific weapon. I would say that whatever outfit you end up going for is probably the weapon that you want to choose, just in general. The only thing that I would make a caveat for is that if you're trying to pull for Tifa's Omni Arcanum, I think I probably would still, after this first guaranteed copy, I'd probably put Yuffie's or Sephiroth's here. Just because I think they add more overall benefit to your team immediately. And this just requires so much of an investment to get it to a point where you can actually utilize it. Yeah, it's difficult, man. This is a difficult one. All 3 of these weapons are really good. All 3 of these weapons need OB6. All 3 of these outfits are decent as well. And like for me, the problem that I'm having right now is I want that Tifa outfit just as an aesthetic thing. And I don't have a reason to get it, logically. Which, like, God, it hurts my heart. If I can be so for real. Like, that sucks. Yeah. Because, like, both Sephiroth and Yuffie's outfits are ones that I can utilize. And, like, Sephiroth's outfit is less that I'm actually, like... It's less than I need. Like, I already have an Arcanum for Sephiroth. So losing 15% damage is fine. But the Ice Potency is another 15% damage that I can't make up through builds. So that's actually a 30% difference from his regular Arcanum, which does change things a bit. And then Yuffie's outfit, she has both physical and magic earth damage weapons, and both of them are really, really good. Like her physical earth weapon is not a bad weapon at all. And so like her being able to utilize that outfit for both of those weapons is a really strong combination. Because with all, there is a chance with 44,000 crystals that I could get through all 3 stamp cards. I doubt it, right? I doubt it. I really do. All right, in terms of the wish list, let's start with Tifa first. So Tifa is pretty easy, just like with Cloud's outfit and banner. It's going to be a pretty easy one where you're just going to be putting all of Tifa's elemental weapons on here. You're going to be putting on the Shining Gloves, which is her physical water damage weapon. Very, very strong. Also has a really solid debuff when that's useful. Obviously, this is going to be very, very good with the Enfeeble effect. And on top of it, again, remember that this 11-20% is great, but her offhand weapon, if you do get it to OB6, being able to increase her water potency, her physical attack up to stage 4 is going to make this do even more damage. So definitely want to have Shining Gloves on there. You definitely want to have the Shell Knuckles as well, which is a still very solid fire damage weapon. It doesn't have any additional effects in terms of, like, you know, inflicts Enfeeble or anything like that, but it's still very good fire damage, very, very solid. That has not fallen off at all. The next weapon that I would put on here is the Bunny Gloves. This is the magic water weapon that she has available. This is going to be less useful in general, just because Sephiroth's Osafune will likely be the premier water magic damage weapon in the game going forward, and it's not like Tifa's going to really be utilizing this very often, but it's still solid. It's still pretty good. You also have the Holy Flame Gloves, which is the physical ice weapon that we were talking about earlier. This will also be very good for the guild battle as well, a physical ice weak enemy that we're fighting. So that's food for thought as well. And then the last weapon that you can consider on this would be the Motor Drive, which is the 790% physical wind weapon. Again, this is not as strong as the Ever Crisis Academy one, so if you have that available to you, so if you're older or a returning player and you pulled on the Ever Crisis Academy banners and you have that Class President's Bracelet, that Class President's Bracelet does more at OB1 than this weapon would ever do at OB10. So if you have that at a decent overboost level, which means OB1 or higher, you do not need to put Motor Drive on your wish list. However, if you are a free-to-play player or if you don't have the Ever Crisis weapon, this is a solid choice. So to recap, that's the Shining Gloves, the Shell Knuckles, the Bunny Gloves, the Holy Flame Gloves, and then the Motor Drive would be the 5 that I would pick. And that would make it up for my wish list for Tifa. Going into Yuffie, Yuffie gets a little bit more complex, but not by a ton, just because we want to make sure that we're looking into her other offhand options, while also looking into maximize her Earth DPS through things like sub-weapons, right? So the first thing I want to put on here, absolutely first and foremost, is going to be the Rocker's Guitar. This is a great offhand weapon that gives your entire team Exploit Weakness. Exploit Weakness, for those that don't know, gives an additional percentage damage if you are hitting an enemy's weakness. So with this one at OB10, it gets you up to a 30% potency, which means that at OB10, you're giving your entire team 30% bonus damage when they're hitting a weakness on the enemy. This is very, very strong. Exploit Weakness is very, very good in this game. Obviously, the increased command gauge will help you get to that full diamond faster, which then gets you to get to unlock these ability potency effects, right? Because you need to have that command gauge at max a little bit faster, which means you're going to be doing damage a little bit quicker. So very, very solid. I think if you don't have Yuffie's Rocker Guitar at OB10 and you're ever pulling on a banner with Yuffie, I feel like Rocker's Guitar is almost a requirement at this point until you do have it at OB10, because it is that good, right? It's just that good. It's that solid. It's not going to change. It's still going to be that good. So it's definitely worth the investment. Next up, the Razor Ring. We talked about this earlier. This is the magic attack Earth potency weapon. Although she may not necessarily be putting this in her offhand, she still can use this as a sub weapon for 56 points of Earth potency and 31 points of magic attack. The magic attack is less important because the Earth potency plus her new featured weapon at OB10 will then get her to a point where she's got that level 8 break, which is what we like to see for when we're trying to maximize our DPS. This will then allow you to get magic attack and magic ability potency sub weapons to help finish off maxing out her attack as well. Reminder that the Rocker's Guitar, if you do have this in her offhand, does get up to a 46 magic attack, so it's not like you have nothing. So make sure that you keep that in mind as well. Then this would be on there as well, the Razor Ring, if you don't have it at OB10. Next weapon that I would include is Barrett's Electro Cannon. This is a premier magic damage support weapon, as well as a premier magic damage sub weapon, because it gives 46 points of magic attack and 56 points of boost magic ability potency. This would get her magic ability potency, her being Yuffie, to a spot. I think it gets her up to a 35 point break, if my math is right. 21 plus 26 is 47. Nope, it gets her up to the level 6 break, which is great. And then obviously the 23 points of magic attack help gets her up past that break point, which is very, very good. So I would include the Electro Cannon here as well. And then the last weapon is kind of a free slot, whether you want it to be another magic attack all allies, an attack all allies, defense all allies, magic defense all allies, or if you're looking for specifically a earth weapon that you can put in the background that will give her a little bit more of that earth DPS. The one that comes to mind would likely be... There is no attack one. I was mistaken. Okay, so it would just be an HP one then. So yeah, at that point, it's going to be, it's probably going to be either Aerith's Wiser Staff, which is the more magic focused one, which is obviously very good. And then you have the last but not least, Red 13's Leather Collar, which is more physically focused, but also has HP and Earth Potency, which is great, right? Those are both options. You can also look at something like Attack and Magic Ability Potency if you need some more help maxing that out. That would be Kate Sith's Crystal Megaphone for Attack and Magic Ability Potency. Which is this guy. So this would be a pretty good boost to your backhand damage, give you a little bit more damage overall. The stats are a little bit lower though, so if you do end up pulling for this and using this as a sub weapon for Yuffie, I do recommend branding this with some magic attack brands to bring it back up to where you want it to be for a sub weapon. All right, last but not least, we've got Sephiroth. Sephiroth, we've got a lot of options for ice potency sub weapons. So we're gonna go over those now. One that comes to mind immediately, for finishing off his ice potency. Let me pull this up really quick. Go boop. Ice potency, ice potency, ice potency. This one. Here we go. The Cathpaloob. This one is a magic attack focused weapon, which is unfortunate, obviously, because his weapon is physical attack. However, it does give you the rest of the ice potency that you're looking for, getting you up to that level 6 break or level 8 break. I would only recommend pulling for Cathpaloob if you plan to get Sephiroth's ice weapon to OB10. Let me say it again. If you're not getting Sephiroth's weapon to OB10, do not wishlist Cathpaloob. You're only doing this if you need it at OB10, or getting it at OB10 so you can get to this 65 point break. That's why you're getting it to OB10, or that's why you're putting this on the wish list. If you're not getting it to OB10, there are other ice potency options in the game that are physically focused. One is the Spiral Shuriken. This is just physical attack and ice potency. Obviously, Holy Flame Gloves from Tifa also work here as well. But either way, both of them give physical attack, which will help get your damage boosted up, get you more ice potency as well. You also have access to the Bald Eagle, which is a decent physical attack and ice potency sub-weapon as well. You also have access to Blade of Ruin, which is a decent physical attack and ice potency sub-weapon as well. You also have access to Pressure Ridge, which is a decent physical attack and ice potency weapon as well. You see in the theme here, is that most of these are all just like pure physical attack, right? The good news is that Sephiroth's weapon is physical attack all allies, so you do need that physical attack stat. So you'll be able to utilize these as sub-weapons, but you do want to have some of these weapons on your team when you're building out your team roster as well. So keep that in mind as you're building out your wish list. For me personally, I think the Pressure Ridge is probably, which one is the highest attack? It's probably Glenn's. I feel like I'm less likely to use Glenn's, and we did, for folks that have been paying attention, when you were logging in, you did get an OB6 Blade of Ruin for free, right? So you already have this at OB6, which means this is already giving you 54 points of physical attack and 30 points of ice potency in your sub weapon slot. This is very, very strong, right? Not only is this good for Glenn, it's also a very good sub weapon as well. So this is very, very good. If you want to get this to OB10 and use it as a sub weapon, you absolutely can, and it will have power, right? Which is great. So for me, I'm looking for two 62.5 ice potency or physical ice potency weapons. So I'm going to pull it on Zach's and Glenn's specifically because they have the most physical attack. And then after that, my physical attack is already covered. So I'm just looking for physical ability potency. My ice potency is already covered as well. So I'm going to look for physical ability potency for my last couple of slots. There are a few that have the My Heart at least. One that immediately pops to mind is Barrett's enemy launcher. This is the premier physical ability potency, non-physical attack weapon in the game that just does boost attack. We're already at maximum physical attack now. We don't need any more help with that. So instead, we're going to put boost attack and physical ability potency on. And I think that this is an excellent last sub weapon for the Sephiroth build. When it comes to Sephiroth's offhand weapon, and this is where things are going to get a tiny bit awkward. When it comes to Sephiroth's offhand weapon, he does not have a ton of options in his kit that he genuinely wants in his offhand outside of his half anniversary banner that had the exploit weakness, right? Then the rest of his weapons here are all either very, very focused in the damage that they're dealing. Like the Shinra military sword, as an example, has a boost physical attack, which is fine, but then wind potency, which you don't need, and then physical attack increase, which you don't need, right? So like his offhand, he doesn't really have a good solid offhand weapon to include in his kit. that you'll want to have in his offhand for this, which makes it a little awkward. So back to the Sephiroth wish list just briefly here. Like I mentioned before, his offhand weapons, it doesn't leave a lot for you to actually want in the offhand. You could just put edge wings and get some more ice potency, and that would let you drop one of the other ice potency weapons for maybe just more physical ability potency instead. I think that's kind of cringe personally. So it'd probably end up being something like the Gla Reed, which does like limit break potency. This is an option that gives him an AoE physical attack. This isn't a great option, but it's there. You could also look at like the Northern Lights as an example. That does a physical attack decrease and has more defensive R abilities. This is a decent option as well. But most of his options are kind of bad, if I can be totally honest with you. So it's just going to end up being whatever you want. Ultimately, I think that's actually where I would probably stop and just say, you know what, I'm just going to pull for the new good outfits and the new good weapons. And that's what I would do for sure. But yeah, so that's the weakness for the Sephiroth portion of the banner. It's just he doesn't have a really good, solid, consistent offhand weapon, which is definitely a weakness for Sephiroth in general. If you do have his exploit weakness weapon from the half anniversary, then you're absolutely fine. You don't need it. You don't need anything else in the offhand for Sephiroth. You can just wield that, and that's perfectly fine. If you don't have that available though, it's definitely a bit tougher for his physical builds. So it is what it is. I think Gla Reed is probably the best option, just in general, but I don't like it, right? This isn't what I would prefer to have, but it is the best option available. So if that's what you're looking for, that's what you can do. And then I would just move on. But yeah, so to answer your question, Enzo, I do think that Yuffie's has more general power today than Sephiroth's does in general. I think that Yuffie's earth damage weapons and earth damage builds and his sub weapon or her sub weapon, I think that Yuffie can utilize her outfit better in terms of a free to play option. I think that Yuffie utilizes the banner better, or her outfit better. So yeah, if you had me at gunpoint and you wanted me to make a choice, I'd say that Yuffie is probably the most beneficial, just because she adds too much to your team in terms of her DPS role, right? Not only does she give your team a whole bunch of earth potency damage, but she also does more than all of the other earth DPSs, right? Yeah, for sure. It's a great outfit for Yuffie, for sure. It's definitely more offensively focused, but that's solid. There's nothing wrong with that. I did mention this earlier, but I'll say it again. Of the three, I think that they're all really, really close, and you can probably just choose whichever one you want at the end of the day. But I think all three of these weapons really want to see their overboost level get to 6. I think if you pull on this banner with the outfits in mind, if you're a new player, the Tifa outfit is great because it gives you 30% in every single elemental damage, and Tifa will continue to get long-term support, which is awesome. If you're a returning or a veteran player, Yuffie's and Sephiroth's are just more useful, and you probably have the Omni Arcanum for Tifa already, which makes it a pretty tough draw. Like, it's pretty tough to choose the Tifa outfit, which is kind of a bummer, but you know, just from logic dictates, right? Like I said earlier, I do think that Yuffie's is slightly more useful than Sephiroth's, just because Yuffie has better builds with that setup. So she's able to not only utilize that magic build, she can also utilize the outfit with her physical build and still deal a boatload of damage, while also having very good and efficient builds to put into those slots, where Sephiroth really struggles from the fact that he does not have a good offhand weapon. But yeah, so that's kind of where I stand though. I think it's probably Yuffie first, Sephiroth second, Tifa third. I think it's probably the for returning and new players, I think that's probably the call. Again, you could tell me that Sephiroth is more important right now because he's good for the guild battle next week, and I would, I understand that. But from my perspective and for what our guild accomplishes with the guild battle, I don't need to worry about that. Yuffie's is better long-term when it comes to just usability. And I don't know how much support young Sephiroth's going to continue to get, to be honest with you, now that original Sephiroth is out, and he already doesn't have a very good offhand weapon. So makes it pretty tough to justify, personally. But yeah, man, it sucks. I really want the Tifa outfit. I can't justify it, man. I can't do it. It's just not, I don't need another Omni Arcanum.